My name is Charlotte Davignon, and I'm here with
Meghan Duda, Associate Professor of Art and Design.
And Ben Diers, graduating with a BFA in graphic design.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you guys for coming today. I am really excited to talk about this story. I guess you might as well just go off the bat, whoever, and just...
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
All right. So this all began back in, I would say, 2019, 2020. I had just finished a body of work. I had this large pinhole camera that is basically a trailer that I pull behind my car and make huge photographs with. And I had just finished this body of work called To Mississippi, which followed One Mississippi. But anyway, so the work was done, and I had these pieces, and a friend of mine was wondering if they could use it to stage a condo that they were looking to sell. So, you know, make that condo look like it's livable. So I said yes, and eventually the condo sold, and I never saw the piece again. And I called around. I was like, "What happened?" And one person said this person picked it up, and the other person said I never saw it, and so on and so forth. And it was just gone. So over time, I just accepted it. I was really sad, but I just took it as a loss and figured, you know, maybe it would show up someday. But I was last Monday. I think it was Monday. Anyway, I was home and I was working on my computer, and this email came in, and this person introduced themselves as a local artist that I had never met before. But he said, you know, we've never met, but I found this piece at the Arc thrift store that I'm quite sure is yours. And then I opened the picture, and it was the missing piece. And I screamed, and I threw my computer across the room. Not really, it felt like it, but I was just like so excited. Email came in at 5:05 p.m. and by 5:15 I was at the Arc. I was ready to pick up my artwork. My husband and my daughter came with me, and I was just jazzed. I'm like, oh, I'm finally gonna see it again. I was so happy. And I got there, and it was gone. Just nothing. And we walked around the store, and I was just like, I was in tears. I was so disappointed. And I went to the manager and asked her, you know, if she knew about the piece, and she said it had been there at 2 o'clock when she went on her lunch break. And so within 3 hours, like, this piece had disappeared. So I went home super sad, and then the next day I went to school, and I was telling everybody about it because the suggestion was that I look for it on social media, and I don't have social media, so I needed to rally the troops. So I started telling everybody to find this thing, and so everybody started looking for it, and I don't know, should I keep going? I mean, I think it was like 2 days later I ran into this guy in the hall, and he says to me.
Yeah, so I think it was Wednesday, the following day, I came up to you and I was like, hey, so do you remember your piece, like, To Mississippi? And then you just, like, jumped at me. It was like, oh my God, did you get it? And I was like, yes. And then, like, you stopped Michael in the hallway, and I was like, he found it. It was him. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? So and of course, on that same exact Monday, and I was just like, I was done with classes, and I was like, I got time to kill. What am I going to do? I'm going to stop by the Arc downtown. And so I wandered in, and right in front of the store was your artwork just sitting there. And I was like, oh my God, that's Meghan's. I've seen this. And the first thing I thought was not initially, oh my God, it's her work, but it was, they put it upside down. And so it was just sitting there upside down the whole time. And I was like, no way. And I looked on the back side, and sure enough, it said To Mississippi on it. I think it was like labeled 2018 or whatever the year, and your like signature on it. And I was like, I need this. Like, I got it, and I looked at the price, and it was only $50, which was a steal.
Super steal. Super duper steal.
And so, like, I talked to the manager or whoever was there, and I was like, I want to buy this piece, and I still want to look around, but I want to make sure that I buy this. And so I figured it out with them. And I called my dad immediately, and I was like, hey, can I have you pick something up for me, just because I don't have space for it at the moment or anywhere to transport it safely. And so I called my dad, and he brought his car over, and after I bought it, we loaded it up into his car, and then he drove it home, and then I went around and, bought whatever else. I wanted to then, and then I left. So like legit 2 hours before you got there.
Just crazy.
And it was, I didn't know how I was going to bring this up to you, because it was a situation where I was like, okay, so either somebody stole it and then donated it, or like you gave it to somebody and then they just didn't want it anymore, so then they donated it. So I just didn't know how to bring this up gently, because you know, either somebody you gave it to was just like, nah, I don't want it, so I'm, you know, and so that's why like on Tuesday I worked, so I wouldn't have been on campus, but I was just trying to think of ways to bring this up to you. And so then on Wednesday I caught you and I was like, hey, so, you know, your piece. And it was just awesome to see your reaction to it. And it was awesome that I found it, you know, and of course I really like it as an artwork, just because I really like the process of pinhole cameras. And both as a conservational sense, I wanted to make sure that nobody else got their hands on it too. So.
Yeah, you told me that the person who was ringing you up said they were trying to convince their friend to buy it so they could take it apart and use the frame. My stomach just turned, because that was what my biggest fear was, that like this piece would just get dismantled, and I was just so grateful that it's, you know, safe. So, but we made a deal.
Yeah.
I said he could keep it. He offered to give it back.
Yes.
He was very generous, but I said, I mean, I couldn't take that steel away. I mean, that was a big win to get that. I'm not going to say how much it normally costs, but not $50.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, I am going to hold you to this. I made him promise that if he ever didn't want it anymore, it wouldn't end up in a thrift store, that it would come back.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But then, like, probably at some point too, you offered like bringing it back and then having us, like the two of us, refurbish it whenever, and so that'll be sometime in the future too. So
I guess, when did you realize, or in your mind, that you thought this piece was just gone forever?
Well, there was a point where I could see that the condo was, I mean, I knew the condo was sold because I could see there was like whoever bought it started putting plants out front, and, you know, they were making it their own. And, you know, the person who had put it in originally, I asked them, you know, we need to figure this out. And I should have just gone to knock on the door. What I think probably happened is it was probably put in a closet or something, and then it was just, you know, forgotten, and then they were probably doing some spring cleaning, and they were like, well, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know when it feels like forever ago, which it kind of was. I mean, that's like, I mean, the place must have sold in 21 or 22. So yeah. Anyway.
Let's see. When you were creating that piece, I guess I don't know much about the artwork. Like, can you explain what this piece looks like?
Yeah, I can try. So, the trailer, I mean, it's like a 5x8 trailer. It's a huge, you know, enclosed trailer, and so I can put really large sheets of paper in there, but I don't have really large. I mean, I do have large sheets of paper, but for this body of work, I just decided to hang 8x10 sheets of paper in a grid into the trailer, and so there's, I think, 24. All right. No, wait. Yeah, 24 sheets of paper, because it's 4x6, 8x10s.
Yeah.
And they're just, you know, they were hanging together in the camera when the picture was taken, and then I take the paper out and I take they're all taped together, and I take them apart and develop them individually. You remember that process, yeah? So, and then rehang them in the frame, but they're all hung individually so that the paper kind of, it breathes and it has a life. So it almost looks like, I know nobody on TV can see this structure in the room, but there's this grid pattern. And it's very atmospheric. It's black and white. And there's not really a fixed image because I'm driving while the image is being taken, so it's really blurry, and yeah.
It's like a visual time lapse,
Yeah.
all stacked onto one picture.
Yeah. That particular one, actually, I can tell you the story of when I made that one.
Yes, please.
So this particular part, it was called 2 Mississippi because 1 Mississippi, I drove the trailer down to New Orleans and started there and drove up all along the river. And then I got to Minnesota and I said, I'm tired. So I went home. And then, so 2 years later, I went back and we started in Minnesota Bluff Country and followed the river. It took us a week to drive the whole river in Minnesota.
When like thinking about the whole concept, I was like, man, it must have taken forever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to take this whole picture.
Yeah. But that one was taken around Aitkin, Minnesota. Is that right? Yes, I think that's right. So it's sort of like, where is that? That's like south of Little Falls, sort of in the middle. So south of Grand Rapids. And I remember that my family and I were arguing. We had our small kids in the car, and it was a big camping trip, and we were arguing about whether to drive fast or slow, and there was all this ruckus in the car, and I decided some of the pictures I open up, so there's a little pinhole, so you open up the shutter, and I quick run in the car and start driving, and then when the picture's done, I stop the car and I run and I close the shutter, and then this one, I think I measured the light, so I knew the time, and it might have been 20 minutes. I don't remember. I could look at my notes. But what was really cool about it is there was cars that were passing, and it was like, it was in the middle of the day, so there was a lot of reflection on the cars. So there's like lines in it.
Right. Yeah.
And those are from the sun reflecting off cars and drawing lines on the. There might even be a roof in there too. I think there's maybe a rectangle if you look at it, like a reflection of a roof. But yeah, that was it's actually one of my favorite ones from the series. I like the variety in it, and so it's a good one. Yeah.
When you went to the thrift store and your piece wasn't there, I guess, did you ever think that you were gonna see it again in that moment?
No, I didn't. I mean, I guess I was hopeful. I was like, you have to tell me who bought this thing. You know, that was my attitude about it. I mean, it wasn't stolen, but it also wasn't like, it wasn't, I didn't, whoever, it was not under my permission that it was there. So, yeah, but actually the funny thing is that one of the students in one of the classes that I was telling this story to, their father is actually, I don't know if he's like the CEO of the Ark, he's top, and so he was on it. He's like, I'm gonna help find this. And he did manage to figure out that it was a student at NDSU. That's as far as he got, but I found out before he found out, so, or maybe we found out at the same time, I don't know. So, but we were like, did he pay for it with it, or did this person use a credit card? Did they use cash? Like, we were trying to figure out how much we could figure out to track.
Well, I could answer all that for you, so.
Track you down. Yeah, anyway.
Ben, when you were, I guess, first looking at that piece, you've seen it before, correct? Okay. I guess, what was your reaction besides realizing that it was upside down?
Well, like, I don't know. I saw it and I was like, oh my God. Like, my heart started racing away just because I was like, there's no way.
There's a score.
Like, you know, I saw it, I was like, this is upside down. But I also had, like, I didn't believe that it was really yours, because I was like, there's no way. Why would this be in a thrift store? And so that's why I, like, thoroughly inspected it, and I was like, this is one of them. Like, and I was like, I was baffled, you know, but I was excited to see it, you know, and the low price that it was at, you know, that I was like, okay, no, this is coming home with me. And so, yeah, it was a bit of that, you know, I was excited to see it, and then all the questions just started flowing in my head. How did it get here? Who, like, left it here? And, you know, how many people would have just passed by it not knowing what it was? And so all that, like, ran through my head before I called my dad to have him help me get it. And yeah, I know, going back to that conversation too with the person that, like, helped me buy it, when she, like, came up and she was like, yeah, I wanted my artist friend to buy it so then they could take it apart and put their stuff in it. And again, my heart also just sunk. And I was just like, okay, thank God that I'm buying it and nobody else, so that nobody tampers with it. Because I could not imagine what would have happened to it if either you or I didn't get to it. So, yeah. So
a couple people that, since I've been telling the story, they've said to me, yeah, I saw it. Like they saw it first, and well, one of them was actually at Lexi in your cohort, and she's like, well, I just didn't know if I should tell you that your artwork was there because she felt bad.
I think I saw her there too.
Oh, did you?
I walked in and I was looking at it and I saw she was like checking out at the register and I was just like, I recognize her, but I didn't like talk to her or anything because I was just checking out the piece. So
and then the manager said it had been there like a week. Like, I don't know, it was just so funny the way the universe sort of came together on that Monday.
Yeah, like of all days, I was just like, I gotta kill time. I'm gonna, you know.
Another person told me they found it and said, no, it's too big. I can't figure out how to get that home, so they didn't buy it. But you were the problem solver, so good job.
Yeah, using my resources.
Yes, that's my line.
And how did you feel once Meghan told you could keep that piece?
I mean, like, I talked with my dad about it, and I was like, you know, after I tell you, I was fully prepared to give it back to you, for free, not for $50. But I would have been fully prepared to, you know, give back to you, and just seeing how excited and relieved you were, like knowing that, like it was not in just some random person's hands. That like it was such a cool thing, you know. Just it made me feel happy that I like purchased it. It kind of made me feel a little bit bad that I managed to get to it before you did. But it just, and then you allowing me to have it was really cool, especially.
You're the only one who's bought it outright, so technically.
The one and only purchasing owner. How exciting.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's got good provenance. What a great story.
Yeah.
God, it's such a good story. I'm really happy.
Me too.
Is the piece just in your home, or I guess where is it at in your?
Right now it's at my parents' house, but I'm living in an apartment with my girlfriend, and we've already mapped out a spot.
Oh, she's okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
She's okay with it. I told her how big it was, and I told her the whole story about it, and she's like, that's really cool. We got to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we've already mapped out a spot on our wall that we're going to put it up. Right now it's at my parents' house, and my dad was also like, we also have a spot. If we need to hold on to it till you have a spot, like we can put it up here. And I'm like, okay, but I think we have a spot at the apartment. So
you should do a timeshare.
Yeah. I can rent it out to my dad.
Yeah.
For $50.
For $50, you can make your money back. Yeah.
In any way, I guess for both of you guys, has this like influenced the way you see your own artwork, or just how you appreciate art nowadays?
I mean, there are times where I'll go thrifting, or I'll, you know, just in the nearby areas, and like I'll look at paintings that they just have, or portraits and things, and sometimes I like to see whether or not something's actually been painted, because you'll get a lot of these, like, I don't know, department store paintings where they're just printed and have a couple splashes of paint on them, and they'll end up in thrift stores too. But there are times where I'll come across a couple paintings that were actually painted, and I'll take a picture of them just to be like, ooh, or if it's something that I actually want, then I'll take it. And so, like, I have a small little collection of like actually painted and actual artworks and stuff that I've thrifted over the years, and adding this to it is really cool. But kind of forgot the question.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want me to repeat it?
Yes.
I guess just how has it influenced, or like, do you have a different view on art after
That's a really big question.
going through this journey?
Well, just knowing where the story of a piece, like where it came from, how it got there, and it's like I like to think of objects and their histories sometimes, and so just wondering how it got here. Like something I also collect is records, and so you know, there are times where I'll find something I like and there's like a name written on it, or you know, I'll throw it on and there's one song that has a bunch of like indents or scratches on it, but then every other song is fine. Then I'm like, oh, I know that this was their favorite, you know? And so just knowing the history of these objects and kind of wondering who could have had them before I have is an interesting thing to think about when creating artworks and wondering where they could end up. And because, you know, there's a whole concept and story behind each art piece, and that story then continues on after the artwork is made. And so while you're trying to share the story with artworks, there's this second life that it has even after the conceptual and stage of it being made. And so kind of that thinking of the process and history of art of a piece is something I kind of have thought about before, but will be thinking about more in the future. And so, yeah.
And then I have one last question. Do you guys think the journey, or I guess not for you, not you guys, do you think the journey of this piece has changed its meaning for you?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, this story is going to go, I'll never forget this story. So, but I don't know. I've always had, I mean, not always, but most of the work that I've made, I've known where it's gone, right? I've been privileged enough to like know the people who buy it or can understand the connection to, you know, whoever has it. But you know, I think following off on that, like this idea of this story. I mean, there's some work that I made with the same tool very, very many years ago. And it was shown in Minneapolis, and it was bought there, and then it ended up in another collection. And then a couple years ago, somebody said, well, I found one of your pieces in this person's collection. Can I put it in a show? And so it just ended up in a show in Minneapolis. And so, like, it's nice to know of the second life. But yeah, this one I will never forget this one. So yeah.
Thank you guys both for sharing this amazing story of what yeah, it's just so cool to hear that it's all happening. Yeah.
It all came together.
Yeah.
It did. The universe just, it knew.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having us.